Hello, hello, hello. This is Carter Clues, and welcome to Mike Cobb's Offshore Investment Report. Today, we are going back to the consumer guide for you. I know you love it because I'm getting a lot of people asking for it. We're doing questions 11 and 12, Mike. You ready?
Ready. Absolutely, Carter.
Ready to roll. I can't believe we went 1 through 10. We only got 5 more to do. And today's questions are very, very good. I mean, I really, I'm looking forward to the answer to these. Number 11, folks, this is all in your consumer resource guide. So make sure to check it out after the show. Number 11, Mike, how will you build your home when you make your move offshore, folks? How will you build your home from thousands of miles away? Good question. You're not there to oversee it. So
right.
How do you make sure they don't build a chicken coop and sell you the Taj Mahal? How do we do this?
I like your analogy there. That's good.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, Carter, there are a couple of different answers, right? Some of it has to do with, track record of the builder, developer, both, either one, right? And so if you have selected a home with a developer or a builder who's built stuff before, then you can actually go see what it is and have a pretty good sense that they're going to do the same again or similar, whatever it happens to be. Right. And so track record is really, really important. And so I would say that would be first and foremost. The second thing you can do, and probably a very small percentage of people do it, although I think more people should, is to hire a third-party engineer, probably architect, engineer, somebody who becomes your specific advocate for the property. And you don't need a whole lot. You need someone to look at the plans, right? You want someone before they start building to look at the plans, go visit the site, make sure everything checks out, right? Then, as it's being built at certain milestones, dig the foundation, tie the rebar and stuff, pour the foundation. The walls are coming up, ceiling. I mean, just as sort of things happen, through the process at maybe about 8 to 10 visits. You don't need a lot, but 8 to 10 visits at any point where, they can surprise visit anytime they want, of course. Those are the kinds of things that will allow you to have peace of mind that your home is being built according to the plans and the standards that you paid for. And that's what you want. I mean, look, you can build an inexpensive house, you can build the Taj Mahal, but either way, if you're building a chicken coop, you want what you paid for. If you're building the Taj, you want what you paid for, right? So it's not so much a matter of how much you're paying, it's ensuring that what you've paid for is what gets delivered.
That is excellent. And oddly enough, just last week, I found out that a good friend of ours, Dan Taylor on Roatan Island, does what you just said. I had no idea. I called him about being on Coffee with Carter, which folks is on every Monday at noon at offshore.com.
What a surprise. You worked that in, Carter. Gee, you've never done that before.
and Dan said, I said, what are you doing now anyway? He said he is doing exactly what you said, that he has people who are going to buy a home. They don't know, let me say something here. When you buy from Mike Cobb, and I mean this sincerely, you're buying a Mike Cobb community. Go to Pacifica.com. Here, here you go, right there. You can look at the homes. You can see the kind of home you're getting. But especially if you're buying a one-off somewhere, you need somebody who goes, Dan's an engineer. He's a meticulous engineer. Dan is almost a pain in the butt engineer, but goes and looks at it and does what you just said, Mike. That's terrific. How does the developer feel about that? How does the developer feel when you do that?
Well, it depends on the developer. We have, I don't know, right now we've got, like I said, not enough people do it. I don't know, we've got 100 addresses under construction, and I'm betting 5 or 6 people have engineers at this point. So what's that, 5% or something? But look, if the relationship is disclosed up front, and it should be, right? Hey, Mr. Developer, here's engineer, Smith, and he's going to be checking out, my house for me because I can't be there. Well, that's perfect. Right. And we have a great relationship. And at the end of the day, what you want is cooperative relationship. You don't want somebody coming in and torpedoing things. And we've had a couple of those over the years where people have hired what I call, the torpedoers. And basically what they do, which I don't like, is they let you get, if something gets wrong, they send a picture and then the client gets really upset. What we prefer, and what I think any developer prefers, is a working relationship where 3 people get copied. Hey, we saw this mistake, or we saw something we're not sure about. They copy the client, they copy us, our construction team, not me, but our construction team, and say, hey, what's going on here? Everybody can talk about it. The client's there, they're in the loop, it's transparent, right? But at the end of the day, the client's sitting up in the US or Canada, they can't do anything about it, and maybe they don't even know what it is, right? But the construction team and that client's engineer can work it out, and everybody can be satisfied. So, and again, that's how most of it is. So I think most developers appreciate that at the end of the day. And I guess if a developer's not intending to do what they said, then they probably don't like it. But if the developer's truly intending to build the home that somebody paid for, that's great. And the reality is a lot of times that work is subcontracted out. Right. So we depend on a subcontractor to do what we told them to do or what we're paying them to do. And if they don't, we're actually happy that the third party engineer caught it. Right. I mean, so it really is a good relationship when it's fully transparent. Yeah.
But let me ask you this. All right. Grand Pacifica, obviously I'm a huge fan of Grand Pacifica. To me, it's the #1 residential resort community in the Caribbean. All right. Grand Pacifica, there are some homes that are essentially model homes, right? That I can say, I want one like, I don't know if there's a picture on here. Like,
you're right.
This one, whatever. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. But let's say I want a one-off. Can I say to Leslie Lawrence, Leslie has a show on the Offshore Club every Wednesday, at Large with Leslie. And she is one of your top people there at Grand Pacifica. She's an incredibly delightful person.
Yeah.
Can I say to her, hey, Leslie, send me a video of how my home's coming?
Oh, actually, we actually do that right now. I don't think they do videos, but they do still pictures. We actually have a program called Builder Trend, and every single person who owns a home that's under construction, pictures get posted once a week, physical word descriptions get posted once a week. And so people can literally watch their home get built week by week by week with pictures and photos that we take. We're the developer and we take them. So, I think it's still important to have a third party that's not us, checking for you. But yeah, Carter, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, we actually do that. We actually provide that week by week physical documentation via pictures and text to all the clients. Yep.
Excellent. Your bottom line on number 11, I love this bottom line. You get what you inspect, not what you expect.
That's right.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
A great line. That's from that's from the president of our company, Eddie Littlefield. That's his favorite line. You always get what you expect or inspect, right? You always get what you inspect. Yep.
Well, let's make sure we get it right. You get what you inspect and not what you expect. There we go.
Yes.
And you've just shown us how you can do it with Grand Pacifica and what people should look for with other developments and anywhere else in Nicaragua or throughout Central America. So that's perfect.
Correct.
Which brings us to number 12. There you go, folks. There's number 12, just the way you're going to see it in your consumer resource guide. And Gary will bring up here how you can get your free copy. This is a book, folks. It's 86 pages, or 110 pages. This is a book. Yeah. This is a book, and it's free. It's free. Send for it. All right, number 12. Number 12. Is the development company financially solid, and do they have a record of success? And then there's a sub question, which I think we also want to address: is financing available for property ownership? Two questions.
Sure.
Two questions. We'll go to the first one first. Is the company solid? I mean, come on, that's vital. That's vital.
It is. And, that's actually a really simple thing to check out. You can do it one of several ways. My favorite is just to simply ask a developer for a copy of their financial statement, right? It doesn't have to be audited, right? It can be, that's great, but it doesn't have to be audited. But every business that's in business and is being run as a business produces a financial statement, right? I mean, that's just part of running a business, right? And so if the business is truly being run as a business, as opposed to well, let's just go build something today, which there is some of that too, right? Then you can ask for a copy of the financial statement. You may have to sign a non-disclosure. When people ask us, we ask them to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but then we provide a full set of financials. We also provide any or all of our business plan, which I think is also a great a resource for somebody to do their due diligence, right? Because if you see a business plan, kind of goes to the second part of the question, which is track record. In a business plan, typically people will lay out what they've done before, which is the track record, right? The financials are usually part of a business plan. But also, Carter, something very, very important is, where does the company see itself going, right? What do they plan to do next in this particular community? Right, because then what you get is you can see what their future is, you can see what your is, and do they align? And if you want to go where the development company is going or where this community is going, then you're aligned. But if they want to turn it into a big Walt Disney water park theme thing, and you want a quiet vacation place, you're going to know that, right?
And so, yeah,
right, you want alignment, and the business plan will give you that alignment, as well as showing you a track record. And nothing beats boots on the ground to go see what they've already done. Look at it. Go stay in it. A lot of times, I know we do, if people want to come down and stay at Grand Pacifica, many of our homeowners are vacationers and they use it a few weeks a year and they rent it out when they're not there. So you can actually stay in a product that we've built that might be very similar to one that you want, right? So again, there are lots of ways to check it out, check out the track record, and whether the company is financially solid.
Let me ask you this, because it's a question. I mean, for you, it's a very simple question. For folks like me who are buyers, it's a very complex question. If you buy, there are a one-off's a one-off. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about in a gated residential resort community. I don't care whether it's in Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, wherever. If you buy from a developer who's built this, and what you see, you like the home, you've done number 11, you like the home that you're going to get, but unbeknownst to you, because you didn't do step 12, has to see their financials and all, that developer who has built a community, okay, not just a home for you out in the middle of nowhere, communities building, if he goes broke, what happens to you? What happens to you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. What happens is, and I see this all the time. I mean, it's all over Latin America and the Caribbean. It's somewhat true in the U.S. too. I mean, occasionally a developer does go belly up in the U.S. A lot of times they've been, there's bonding so that they've pledged collateral, and the insurance company takes that collateral and then spends the money to finish it. So there's a lot less risk in the U.S. and in Canada. But overseas, there really are no bonding agencies that do this kind of thing. So yeah, the consumer is left high and dry. And if you go all the way back to the questions 1 through 5, Carter, in the Consumer Resource Guide, what we talk about is buy what you see. Well, yes. there's an adjunct to that. It's also pay for what's there, pay for what you can see, right? So if a developer comes along and says, hey, buy one of these beautiful home sites, and we're gonna put in the water, we're gonna put in the road, and we're gonna build a golf course, right? And maybe they're selling it for, maybe they're selling it for $50,000. If it were me, I'd say, well, look, it doesn't have a road, it doesn't have water or electric, and there is no golf course. I'll pay you $50,000 when all of that's in. But I'm going to write you a check today for $15,000 for this lot. And, when the electric's in, I'll give you another 10. And when the golf course is in, I'll give you another 30 or whatever the math on that is. Right. Yeah. And so, and most developers will balk at it and probably not take the deal. I can assure you that if somebody came to me any point where we're developing a project and we didn't have the water and the roads and the electric in, we hadn't built the clubhouse and the golf course and all that stuff, and we were selling a lot for $50,000, they said, we'll give you 15. And as you do these things, we'll pay the rest. I'd be like, done, let's go. Right. Excellent. I have no worries. Right. And so I think that's pay for what's there, pay for what you can see is the adjunct to buy what, buy what you see. Right. So pay for what you see.
Pay for what you see. Pay for what you see.
And if you think the lot's worth $50,000 with a golf course and there isn't one, what's it worth without a golf course? Well, pay that, right? And then agree to pay the rest. We're not trying to rip anybody off, but pay the rest when it's there, kind of thing, right?
It's fantastic. Yeah. That is just great advice. That is great advice. And that brings us to the second half of question 12. Is financing available for property ownership? What's the situation there? How often does that happen? How can, just across the board? That's a vital question, because I get that from a lot of people who contact me now. They've watched us for a year or so, and they say, I want to buy a place. I'm convinced I want to move offshore, but I don't have the whole nut to buy the home right out of the gate. So is financing available for property ownership? What's the story there?
Sure. And, in full disclosure, I helped start a bank in Belize. It started out as a mortgage company back in late 93, early 94. We got our banking license in 2003, and we give loans to people buying real estate all over Latin America and the Caribbean. So full disclosure, that is a business that I'm part owner in.
Good.
And
good.
And it's great because we're one of the few banks that actually lend to North Americans wanting to buy property in the region. There are a few others. There are a couple banks in Panama that will lend in Panama, and there's a few others, but generally there's no lending institutions for foreigners buying property outside, outside their home countries. So we do that. And again, I can't really discuss interest rates or terms or anything like that, but
all right.
But Carter, if somebody hits that email, Offshore Club at ecidevelopment.com, and just in the subject line just says, introduction for financing, or, financing questions or something, we'll connect folks up. Yeah, we'll connect folks up, and you guys can, whoever interested, talk directly to the folks at Key Bank. Yeah.
Okay. Key Bank. It's Key International Bank in Belize,
correct?
Right?
Yep.
Key International Bank in Belize. There we go.
Oh, there's the website. Yeah.
There we go. Let me ask you a question, and then I want to move on to a totally different subject, which is important. But this will finish us off in these two vitally important questions, and your answers have been fantastic. Does Key Bank make loans just for ECI properties, or can I get a loan? Is it worthwhile to apply for a loan for a property that has nothing to do with Mike Cobb or Joel Nagel or ECI properties, of which I think there are 5 or 6 developments? What's the story there?
Yeah, absolutely, Carter. Key Bank lends to many people. In fact, I would say, I know it's a small percentage, maybe only 20% of the loans at Key Bank, less than 20%. I don't know the number, but less than 20% of the loans at Key Bank are to ECI clients. 80% of the loans are to people who bought properties from my competitors. So yes, absolutely.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just in Belize or in other countries? In
Belize, Nicaragua, Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras.
It's fantastic.
I can't remember. Yeah. We've had, by the way, El Salvador. Thank you. We've had some loans. We've had some loans in Mexico over the years. I don't think we have any open loans there now. And anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anywhere outside the U.S. and Canada, the two places we don't work are the U.S. and Canada, but Caribbean, Central America, probably not Asia, not Europe, right? But the Americas outside of the U.S. and Canada.
It's fantastic. And I interviewed Luigi on Coffee with Carter, which you can find and
Monday.
On Mondays at noon at the Offshore.club. Great interview. So folks, if you go back and find that interview, this is a good guy. You get to talk to a bank president. So how does Luigi pronounce his last name? It looks like Ouija, but it's not.
Waweje. Yeah, I'm close on that. I'm probably saying it wrong
the
too.
Entire interview, I might add. Never did. It was too much for me. Luigi was good. My mother was Italian. Luigi was very simple for me. Yeah. There we go.
Right.
Yeah, I think a
million
relatives
Italian.
named Luigi.
He's Italian, South African. So yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right. That's it. Numbers 11 and 12. Excellent. Very important questions. Now you have excellent answers. I know we're running out of time, but before we go, I want to ask you to talk about the upcoming 26th annual President's Week Conference coming up. What is this? November 12th to 16th in Las Vegas. Folks, this is what we'll say the electrifying financial event of the year. It's the financial event of the year, period. And it's never been more important with the way the economy, the financial world is right now. You and Joel founded this 26 years ago.
Yeah, actually, Joel did. This is really his conference. He started it by putting together. He invited a bunch of folks, presidents of companies, and some of his clients, right? Some of his asset protection clients to Belize, right? 26 years ago, basically for just a long weekend of hanging out, chatting about asset protection, offshore investments, kind of very casual. And it just got steam, and people wanted to do it again. And we invited out other folks, outside folks, and now 26 years later, it's quite an event. Ron Paul was our keynote speaker last year. And one of the nice things is it's a really small event. We have 30 attendees kind of number, whatever. And so Ron Paul came for an afternoon and evening and breakfast the next morning. And so literally, if you wanted to sit and chat with him for 5 or 10 minutes, you could, or you could walk up to the table where he's having dinner, and many people did. And it wasn't just sort of like that quickie selfie shot. And the speakers, I mean, Joel brings in Swiss money managers. There's a gold guy out of Switzerland as well. He brings in other lawyers, other asset protection specialists, and just on and on and on. So it's offshore investing, it's asset protection with a global focus, but it's very, very high net worth individuals. The cost of the conference is high. I mean, it's a $3,000 ticket. It includes all your meals. It's incredible. Includes all your meals and stuff, but it's $3,000. But I'll tell you what, the caliber of the speakers is tremendous. The caliber of the other attendees. We find that many people who come as attendees end up with new friends and new colleagues that they enjoy doing things with, outside of the event as well. So it's tremendous. Yeah, Carter.
It's a tremendous event. 4 days. Let me say this. With the types of speakers you have, because I remember from last year, and I've been, for several years now, with the caliber of speakers, to spend an hour or two with any one of these would cost you $3,000.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 4 days, all meals together, you absolutely, I mean, you have to show up, but I mean, assuming you show up and go to the meals and sit next to some of the speakers you want to, I mean, you absolutely get way more than $3,000 of face time, just the face time, let alone anything that get, right. Exactly.
Incredible.
Yep. Yeah.
So to me, it's the ultimate mastermind group, for 4 days.
Nice way to look at it.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So folks, be there. Mike, thank you. You'll be there. Joel will be there. I'll be there.
I will.
Excellent.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
Carter, thank you. Other major speakers. So folks, there you have it. The answer to those 2 questions is money in the bank for you, money in the bank, making sure you get the home you want. This conference, I want to add something here. It's exclusive. Mike said 30 people. I think this year they might get it up to 50, but it's first come, first served. So come first. Make sure you're part of it. Excellent conference. Excellent answers to questions. Super show, folks. Everything about it. Making you move offshore, taking advantage, getting to know Mike Cobb. This is a tremendous opportunity. Going to the conference, as I tell you every week. Let's do this thing.